Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the interrupts part 3. So the general hardware interrupt which is available in most of the processors is INTR. Okay, it is one of the pin in approximately all the CPUs. Here I will consider in 8086 the process what is going to happen if INTR is high. If you give a signal to INTR, signal means 5 volts. Okay, that is 1. Okay, signal is nothing either 0 or 1. If it is zero, if the voltage is 0, its value is considered as 0 state. If the voltage is 5 volts, it is considered as state 1. Okay, high and low. Low means 0, high means 5 volts. Because we are dealing only this digital here. Digital means only zeros and ones. 5 volts is considered as high, that is 1. 0 volts is considered as 0, that is low. Here, INTR is a non-maskable interrupt. INTR is a non-maskable interrupt. Okay. In 8086, okay, it is a maskable. Okay, 8086 it is a maskable interrupt and level triggered and low priority interrupt. Okay, this statement is valid. Okay, these two. Okay, it is a, in all the cases it is a maskable interrupt only in all the processes. But whatever is highlighted now, that is level triggered and low priority interrupt. That is valid only for 8086. Okay, it is valid only for 8086 processor. Okay, so in other processor it may be different, need not be level triggered, but here in this case it is a level triggered and low priority interrupt and which is a maskable one. Okay. I will explain later when I get a chance to explain about the triggering. Okay, there is level triggered interrupts as well as edge triggered interrupts. Okay, edge triggered interrupts are better than the level triggered interrupts. Edge triggered, again there are two types. One is positive edge triggered, another is negative edge triggered. Okay, like that there are different categories. Okay, that we will learn in at a later stage. Okay, here what is going on? Okay, if you give a signal to INTR, if you give a signal to INTR means if you give a supply voltage means 5 volts. Okay, in processors, what are the supply voltage available? 5 volts and 12 volts. There are two types of power supplies available for a microprocessors. They are 5 volts and 12 volts only. 12 volts for driving the drivers, etc. 5 volts is for general purpose. That means for all the functions except the driving. That means suppose if you want to drive stepper motor, then you require more voltage. Okay, that is it is a mechanical part. Okay, here there is a maskable interrupt, level triggered and low priority interrupt. Then here you see what will happen on receiving an interrupt on INTR line. On INTR line means this one. This is INTR line. This is INTR line. Whenever you are receiving an interrupt on INTR line, how do you say you are receiving an interrupt? By closing one of the switch. Okay, it is INTR on switch or INTR2 switch or so onto INTRN. Okay, so who will close the switch? The device which is connected to INTR1 is close to the switch. That is the responsibility. The IO device responsibility is it has to close the switch whenever it requires the service. Similarly, INTR1, 2, so on. Okay. If only one device is switched on, again INTR becomes available. That means INTR line is interrupted. If more than one is also closed, again the same thing. That difference I will explain later. Here on receiving an interrupt on INTR line, that means by either interrupting by one device or multiple devices, the microprocessor executes 2 INTA pulses. That is, INTA means interrupt acknowledge. INTR means interrupt request. INTR means interrupt request. INTA means interrupt acknowledge. Okay. In the first INTA pulse, okay, first INTA pulse, okay, the interrupting device calculates, okay, calculates the vector number. So for INT1 device, okay, the device which is connected to INTR1, okay, what is the address? What is its vector number? That is 1. Okay. From that 1, you will send the address of the interrupt. Address of the interrupt means that is 1 into 4. That is, its address is 004. If it is INT2, its address is 008. Like that. Okay. That is in the first case. Okay. It calculates the vector number. The second INTA, okay, the interrupting device sends the vector number, that is n, to the microprocessor. Okay. That is happening in the case of INTR request. Once the CPU received the number, interrupt number, then it will automatically find out the address where the starting address of the corresponding ISR is available. Okay, that is to be going to happen here. Here already I told earlier, here in this case, if multiple devices are trying to connect to or trying to request for the CPU or send the request INTR simultaneously or one after the other, then how it will recognize and how it will happen. So for that case, okay, we are going to use the interrupt flag, IF. Interrupt flag is a 1-bit, okay, is one of the bit in flag register. If you take any processor, it has a flag register, or that is what we call as program status word or program status register. Sometimes it's called as flag register. In the flag register, all the status bits of the process are stored, like zero flag, sign flag, etc. Overflow flag, auxiliary carry flag, interrupt flag, direction flag, so on. There are so many. That depends on the processor. Here, in if interrupt flag is 0, if interrupt flag is 0, okay, how do you manipulate the interrupt flag? By using a instruction, that is CLI, clear interrupt flag. CLI means CLI is an instruction which will clear the interrupt flag. Clear interrupt flag, CLI. Okay, what type of instruction it is? CLI. CLI is what type of instruction it is? Please respond. CLI is what type of instruction which comes under which addressing mode? CLI comes under which addressing mode instruction? It uses which addressing mode? Respond please. Are you able to listen or not? Are you able to listen or not? Is it audible?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Yes. CLI is what type of instruction it is? It comes under what addressing mode? CLI, clear interrupt flag. Already I told. It is what type of instruction? Is it 0 address instruction or 1 address or 2 address? What type
Zero.
of it is?
0 address.
0 address instruction. Okay. All 0 address instructions use which type of addressing mode concept? 0 addressing mode instructions comes under what category? They use which type of addressing mode? Is it template mode or immediate mode or register mode or direct mode or indirect mode? Think you for all of you forgot that. Yes, tell me.
Immediate, sir.
Immediate. What is the meaning of immediate? Immediate means the instruction should have the data.
Right, sir.
Is the instruction have the data here?
No.
No. So how it will be immediate? It is employed addressing mode instruction. CLI and STI are clear accumulator. Okay, the instructions which doesn't have any operands. CLI, is it have any operand? No. Zero. That's why you call it as zero addressing mode. Sorry, zero address instructions. That's why you call it as zero address instructions. Zero address means there is no operands. Only default operands are there. Default means which is given in the instruction itself. Clear instruction flag. It says that it clears the instruction flag bit. That is IF is equal to 0, which is zero address instruction and which comes under employee addressing mode. Similarly, set the interrupt flag STI. Set the interrupt flag STI. It is also employee addressing mode and zero address instruction. So when STI, whenever you write the STI in the program, immediately the interrupt flag is to be set. That is IF is equal to 1. Where the interrupt flag is available? In the flag register. I think all of you comfortable about the flag register, or you forget it? You forgot it, or do you remember that flag register? Yes. What the flag register contains? It contains so many flags.
Yes, sir.
Or the another name for it is program status word or program status register. So many names are there for it. Okay. So here, by using the instructions CLI and STI, you can modify the interrupt flag. By using CLI, you can reset it. That means you can make it 0. By using STI, you can make it 1. Okay. By using this, okay, if interrupt flag is 0 here, then what will happen? Huh? What will happen? That means all interrupts are not allowed. That means they're not enabled. Okay. That means masked. For masking purpose, what you are going to use? Masking means it is not allowed. For that we are going to do, or for that we are going to make IF flag is to be 0. If you make IF flag is to be 0, then the other interrupts are not allowed. They are masked. Even though there is an interrupt, it is not allowed. Why? Because IF is equal to 0. The interrupts are to be accepted only when the IF is equal to 1. Okay. This is one way of manipulating the interrupt flag. Okay. Another way is by using EI and DI instructions. Okay. Enable instruction means EI, enable interrupts. Enable interrupt means by making IF is equal to 1. Disable interrupts means by making IF is equal to 0. By using other instructions also, you can manipulate the interrupt flag. EI means enable interrupt, DI means disable interrupt. Those are another type of instructions. They are control instructions. They are control instructions. A and DI. Sorry, A and DI. Is it clear now? Or do you have any doubt in this regarding INTR? Do you have any doubt regarding INTR? Is it clear? If you have any doubt, I will explain.
No, sir.
Okay, is it clear? Okay. And already I told that if multiple interrupts are activated or closed, if the multiple switches are closed, okay, then the INTR line is high. So how that situation is to be handled? Okay, to handle that situation, okay, we are going to use the interrupt flag EA and DI. Okay, already I told one case earlier. There is the first case, second case, and third case. There are 3 cases. Okay. The first case, I think already it is explained. The first possibility, okay, in that case, if there are multiple requests, so how do you handle the INTR line? The first possibility is to have the processor hardware ignore the interrupt request line until the execution of the first instruction of the ISR has to be completed. So no other interrupts will occur until EA instruction is executed. Here the meaning of this is you have to design the circuit. You have to design the circuit such that, okay, whatever the first interrupt, okay, whatever the first interrupt enable the line, INTR line, okay, till that starts the ISR, okay, till that ISR is to be started, okay, don't allow any other interrupts. That is the hardware logic we need to implement. That's the meaning of this. While designing the circuit, you have to see that while designing the circuit, you have to see that no other interrupts are allowed, okay, till the first instruction of the interrupt subroutine is to be executed. Suppose there are 3 interrupts, okay, whatever the first interrupt is attempted on INTR line for service of CPU, that is to be considered, and till the first instruction of that ISR is to be executed, no other interrupts are handled, not considered. Other interrupts are not considered. Okay, that logic you need to implement in the hardware. That is the meaning of this. If that is the case, okay, if you are designed such that, then only one interrupt is to be handled at once. Once the first instruction of the ISR is to be executed, then it will take care of the other things also. But here in the ISR, how do you curtail the other interrupts is by writing a DA instruction as the first instruction in the ISR. Clarity vachinda? You got the clarity? You got the clarity or not? Multiple interrupts అక్కడ వచ్చాయనుకోండి, ఫస్ట్ ఇంటరప్ట్ ఏదైతే ఉంటుందో దాన్ని ఆ కరస్పాండింగ్ ఐఎస్ఆర్ ఫస్ట్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యేంత వరకు మిగతా అవి కన్సిడర్ చేయదు. దెన్ ఆ ఫస్ట్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ ఏముంటుంది, దట్ ఈస్ డిఐ ఉంటుంది ఐఎస్ఆర్లో ఎప్పుడు కూడా. ఆల్ ఐఎస్ఆర్స్ కంటైన్స్ డిఐ యాజ్ ద ఫస్ట్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ and EA is the last instruction. So DI means disable interrupt. Whenever the disable interrupt instruction is executed, automatically all the interrupts are disabled. Okay, that is one of the case here. This DI and EI are used to control the interrupt flag here again. That is first case. Then come to the second case. The second option is only one interrupt line is to have the processor automatically disable interrupts before starting the execution of ISR using the bit in flag register. Already it is explained earlier. By using that flag register bit. Okay, whenever one interrupt request is attempted, automatically the interrupt flag register is made to be 0. That means can disable all other interrupts. That is one option is by using directly manipulating the flag register. That is one thing. Another is by using EA or DA instructions in the ISR. That is the first and second option. The third option is the interrupt handling circuit responds only to leading edge of signal. That is edge triggered. This is the permanent option. This is the third. The ideal one is, instead of using the level triggered interrupts, it is better to use the edge triggered. If you use the edge triggered, that problem will be solved. If you use the edge triggered, that problem will be solved. In the first two cases, the problem arises because of the level triggered. Okay. Here, if you use this, that problem will be solved. Yeah. I think you have the class at 11:15. You have another class at 11:15.
Yes, sir, but not informed about the class.
Who is the concerned teacher? Who is the concerned teacher? The subject ఏంటమ్మా?
దివ్య మేడం సార్.
దివ్య మేడం. దివ్య మేడం తీసుకుంటుందాం కదా?
నిన్న జరగలేదు సార్, నిన్న మొన్న మేడం క్లాస్.
Okay, okay. Okay. The device raises an interrupt. Okay, here how the program control transfer, how the control is transferred. Okay, in the case of interrupt process. Okay, the first step is the device raises an interrupt request. That is the, all of you note down this. All of you note down this on the book. The device raises an interrupt request. That is the first step. Then the processor interrupts the program currently being executed. That is the next step. The processor interrupts the program currently being executed. So when the processor will be responded after completing the execution of current instruction. Okay. For the interrupt, the processor will be responded after completion of execution of the current instruction. What are the instruction it is going to execute present currently, that is to be completed, then only the processor will respond for the interrupt. That is the meaning. The processor interrupts the program currently being executed. Okay. Then interrupts are disabled by changing the control bit in flag register. Okay. Except in triggered interrupts. In the case of triggered interrupts, it doesn't require. If you use triggered interrupts, the third step is not required. Automatically only during one edge only it considers, then remaining it doesn't consider. So in the case of triggered interrupts, the third step, okay, is not required. Okay. Then the device is informed that its request has been recognized, and in response it deactivates the interrupt request line. Okay, that is already told now. So whenever the control is transferred to the interrupt subroutine, always the interrupt subroutine, okay, have the first instruction is DI. The last instruction of interrupt subroutine is EI. Suppose you take a program, some ISR, okay, so whatever it may be. So the first instruction will be EI for this, then so on. Okay, some instructions will be there. At the end, it is EI. And this is a subroutine. This is interrupt subroutine. This is interrupt call it as ISR.
There in the first instruction, DI should be present. Okay.
Sorry, DA, not EA, but in that. Yes, this is DI. The first instruction is to be DI. Then the last one is EI. Okay, this is the sequence. In between, some instructions will be there. This is the structure of interrupt subroutine. Okay, that is the meaning of this one. One minute, please. Okay, is it understood? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Next, the action requested by the interrupt is performed by the ISR. So whatever the action that will be taken by the ISR, that will be performed. That means the ISR is executed. The meaning of this is the ISR is executed. Okay. Then interrupts are enabled and execution of the interrupted program is resumes. That means it comes out from this ISR and continue to go to the previous one. That is the meaning of this. Interrupts are enabled. That is, at the end of ISR, interrupts are enabled and execution of the interrupted program is resumes. Okay, this is the flow of the program control transfer process when ISR to be executed. when interrupt is allowed. Okay. Is it clear? All of you note down these steps. These are the steps which are taken care of during the interrupt execution or interrupt processing. Can I keep this slide or can I move to the next one?
Next slide, sir.
Okay. Next, types of interrupts already I have explained earlier. Software interrupts are CPU instructions. Okay. Vector interrupts they are. Enable interrupt DI, disable interrupt is DI. Edge triggered interrupts are not dealt more on edge triggered interrupts, that we will deal it later. Then PID interrupts, if multiple interrupts are allowed, PID base will be considered. Okay. This is the general trend. Okay. This is the general concept. Okay. Then how to handle the multiple vector interrupts. The device, multiple devices, that is vector interrupts. Already, I think this is related to your interrupt vector table. Okay, the interrupting device must wait to put data onto the bus. Okay, only when the processor is ready to receive it. When the processor is ready to receive the interrupt vector code, already the same thing is conveyed here. Where it is conveyed? Here. It is conveyed here. In the INTA, it is already conveyed. So then the first INTA, pulse, what it does, calculates the vector number. Then in the second one, it sends that to the processor. The same thing here. There is no way difference. Okay. It is ready to receive the interrupt vector code. It activates the INTA line. Okay. The IO devices respond by sending its interrupt vector code and turning off INTR signal. Okay. The code supplied by the device may represent the starting address of ISR for the device. It is already explained. Is it clear? How you get the starting address? By multiplying the interrupt number with 4. By multiplying the interrupt number with 4, you will get the starting address of, okay, the interrupt subroutine. There, in that location, you find the starting address of the interrupt subroutine. Then from that, you go to corresponding ISR, then execute it. In the ISR, the first instruction will be DI, the last instruction is EI. Okay. This is the hardware interrupt process. Do you have any doubt till this step? Do you have any doubt till this step? All this is the hardware interrupt process, how it happen and how it handles the multiple devices and all those things. How one interrupt line, INTR line, is to be used to connect many IO devices. And another one is here NMI, that is non-maskable interrupt. Non-maskable interrupt has a special significance. Okay, it is to be used especially for fire, accident purposes, etc. Whenever there is an emergency, mostly it is used for emergency cases. That means even though all are switched off, okay, that will be activated. Do you have any doubt in this? Till this is the first part of 4th unit, that is interrupt hardware. Then in this, we will discuss about the multiple interrupt, how to handle it. That is in depth. Here discussed only a little bit, but in depth, okay, we are discussing in the next class. If that is completed, the first half of the 4th unit is over. Okay, I think by tomorrow or day after tomorrow it will be completed. The first half of the 4th unit. Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay, can I close it or you don't have any doubts? Can I end the session?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Don't have doubts.
Okay. Do you have madam? She is online or not?
No, sir.
No. Okay, I will check it out. Thank you.